Hi, I'm Reverend Tom Kearns, and welcome to 333 Magic 9, where the tarot cards and the astrology stars come together to help you. Now, 2022 will be a different year than 2021, but there still are some critical days that you need to know about because they can affect your love, your money, and your career. So let's take a closer look at some of the important days in 2022. I hope you will like this video and also press the little bell for notifications when my new videos come out. The tarot card for the first quarter is the Death card, which represents death and the possibility of resurrection. The tarot card for the second quarter is the Magician, which represents spiritual power being used on the earth plane for creation. The tarot card for the third quarter is the Seven of Cups, which represents misrepresentation, confusion, and temptation. The tarot card for the fourth quarter is the Wheel of Fortune, which represents a new cycle with new potential in the spiritual continuity behind the ever-changing world. Scorpio, the card for the first quarter and overshadowing the whole year, is the Death card. Now, the Death card represents not only death, but the possibility of rebirth and renewal. It can also represent revolution and be very apropos, since Pluto, the planet of death and resurrection, will return to the exact degree it was at the birth of the United States of America. This will represent a purging of people who have abused power and beliefs that are false. Now, there is hope for a better future. So as we look into the astrology, the year begins with 4 planets in Capricorn and your third house of intellect. Now, since Venus is RX, retrograde, and Pluto conjuncts Venus, this is the perfect time to reevaluate what you need to learn to feel more effective in the coming year. Now, Mercury will go retrograde on the 14th, suggesting a need for care with home and family issues. And then Uranus turns direct in your 7th house on the 18th, suggesting you need to redirect your interactions with partners. And people may be a little willful, so be careful. Now, as we move to February, it begins with the Sun, Moon, and Saturn all conjunct in your 4th house, which may bring a sense of seriousness to family and security issues. So control your emotions and use your common sense. And then Mercury and Venus will both be traveling direct, and that's good and may help in communications and travel issues. As we go to March, it begins with a new moon conjunct Jupiter in your 5th house, bringing luck and opportunity to creativity and romantic things. Woo! Now, take communication seriously as Saturn and Mercury are together in the first week. The tarot card for the second quarter is the Magician. This represents the ability to use all the elements, earth, air, fire, and water, in the act of creation. So it's a very dynamic energy and suggests that what has been purged will make way for an energy that is much more constructive and creative. It also suggests that there is a spiritual power that is being used on the earth plane, which would coincide with Jupiter moving from Pisces to the sign of Aries, a whole new cycle. So as we look down into the astrology, April begins as Venus is entering into Pisces and your 5th house of pleasure. So this is a positive influence that helps in romance and creative ventures. Now, Jupiter will join Neptune on the 12th. Now, this is bringing opportunities to express your creative side through romance and the arts, but do watch your passions. But follow your creative vision. The new moon will end April-May with a powerful boost of energy in your 7th house, and that's the house of relationship. So a new level of sensitivity can be reached. But when Mercury goes retrograde on the 10th and Jupiter enters into Aries, people may be too independent for intimate conversations. But then this leads to a lunar eclipse on the 16th, where personal issues demand control. As we go into June, things can settle down as Mercury will be going direct on the 3rd, so spend extra time with partners, and Saturn will go retrograde in the house of emotional foundations and family. So you have to know what is appropriate at home and with your family. And the rest of the month has Venus and Mercury in Gemini, and that's making finances and interactions on an intimate level a priority. The card for the 3rd quarter is the 7 of Cups. Now this card can represent confusion and temptation. In the real world, it can be associated with misinformation or not being able to clearly understand the choices that are in front of a person. So the challenge becomes making wise decisions and not being swayed by misinformation or your emotions. So as we look down into the astrology, July will be busy as 4 planets will be making changes. Mars in your 7th house suggests you're a little aggressive, so be careful with partners. Mercury going up into the 9th house suggests you take a new course of study, or maybe plan a trip to a foreign country. And the 3rd week, Venus will be romantic, so spend some intimate time with your mate. And then Mercury will go into the 10th house. That suggests good communication will get your career moving. Jupiter will go retrograde on the 28th right here, so reevaluate your work routines. Now as we go into August, that shows a similar pattern as Mercury moves into the 11th house on the 4th, making you more talkative in groups. And Venus in your 10th house will be really helpful in attracting opportunities in your career, and that happens on the 11th. Then Mars in your 8th house wants you to be sensual and passionate with partners. And then the 24th has Uranus in your 7th house going retrograde. So you may have to reconsider partnerships and business contracts and be careful with legal issues. September will probably be easier as Venus will slow down and comes down to Earth on the 4th. So network in your business with your business contacts. And Mercury will go retrograde in your 12th house. That suggests you need to clarify and purge your personal fears. So take some time out. As we go into the 4th quarter, the tarot card is the Wheel of Fortune. Now, it depicts the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac, bringing a sense of spiritual continuity that lies behind the ever-changing nature of the world. Now, this is a very positive card and suggests that our fortunes are taking a turn for the better. In fact, you may be feeling that way already, so enjoy the cycles of life. And as we look down into the astrology, October begins with Mercury going direct in your 11th house. This can be beneficial for networking or talking to like-minded people. Pluto will turn direct down in your 3rd house on the 8th, bringing changes or adjustments to the way you analyze or communicate. So the way you analyze what's going on in your life and the way you talk about it. And then Saturn will turn direct on the 23rd in your 4th house, and that will bring a opportunity to deepen family ties and your sense of security. As we go to November, it begins as Mars will go retrograde in your 8th house, so you have to be careful in intimate situations and finances. Don't be too pushy. And then there's a total lunar eclipse on the 8th, and it warns against ignoring close partners. Jupiter goes direct on the 23rd in your 5th house, suggesting the start of a beneficial cycle in creativity and romance. And then December begins with Neptune direct in your 5th house, clearing the way for creativity and pleasure. And Venus and Mercury move into the 3rd house, and that will help you enjoy communications and travel. But be a little bit careful, as Mercury does go retrograde on the 29th. Hi, I'm Reverend Tom Kearns, and this is my story. If you are a spiritual seeker, it may help you on your journey. I believe your spiritual development is as important as your religion. If you look at Christianity, it focuses on the life of Jesus. But Jesus was never a Christian. He was Jewish. If this thought intrigues you, you'll enjoy my new book, Light from Water, Freeing Jesus. It's available on Amazon.com and through fine bookstores. And it may help you on your spiritual journey. I hope you will like this video and also press the little bell for notifications when my new videos come out. I'd like to thank you for watching. I'd like to thank you for listening. And please subscribe, because these videos are free, and that's a great price. And they can help you in the coming year. So please take a moment to ring the bell so you can be notified for new videos. And if you want some deeper information, go to my website, ProfessorAstrology.com, and you can find ways to get a transit chart or a natal chart so you know more about you. And I hope that you have a very great year.